Welcome to the back nine breakdown of round 3 at the Players' Championship. I am the Model Maniac. Golf betting is no longer fun. The big three, mainly Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm, make it impossible to bet them at the numbers the books are pricing them at, while they continue to just play at a level of golf that makes this incredibly difficult game look like child's play. In first place is Scotty Scheffler, one of the 3 people inside the top 25 that is losing strokes putting. Yet everybody is losing to the tournament by at least 2 strokes. He has put on a tee to green masterclass that brings with it a level of boredom and detestation for the way he maneuvers his way around the golf course. He simply is one of the most reliable golfers on the planet, with the other 2 best players in the world sitting on the couch and or toilet at this very moment. The good people at DraftKings managed to get 3 other golfers shoved into the 10K range, but the problem is they all suck and sit outside the top 10 of the leaderboard. So Scotty's going to be mega chalk tomorrow, as people will be chasing those finishing position points that he's most likely to lock up, with all but 2 golfers 5 shots behind him. He was 40% owned today and will most likely be even more than that. We need a meltdown. It's just that simple. Minwoo Lee made a bogey on his final hole to inevitably land up 2 strokes behind the world number 2 heading into the final round. Minwoo put on a driving masterclass today, gaining 1.5 strokes off the tee en route to a minus 666. That's a horrible number. He lost on approach today, but the rest of his game kept his game very much afloat. We have 2 Americans in the top 7 of the leaderboard, with 2 Aussies sitting inside the top 3. The South African in me wants to call the majority of the top of this leaderboard a bunch of cheating bastards, but the producer told me that is not advisable. Go check out the Australian sandpaper cheating scandal they did against my cricket team a few years back if you want to know where this inexplicable hatred comes from. Cam Davis, another Aussie, seems to have found his groove after a slew of miscuts entering the week. He's made the cut and sits in 3rd after a bogey-free 67 that included an eagle. But he has chipped his face off, leading the field in strokes gained around the green, just like his fellow Aussie, Jason Day, after 3 rounds. A $6,800 Cam Davis seems ridiculously cheap if he keeps this kind of golf up. Aaron Rai shot 7 under today, which included a sexy ace on the iconic 17th hole. Props to the 2-glove guru. Serves me right for saying he was one of the worst birdie makers in the field yesterday's broadcast. He'll be $6,600 tomorrow and will be of the highest owned 6K option sitting in T4. Tommy Fleetwood is playing the golf we all expected from him the last 2 events, which makes sense as we are not on him in any capacity this week. Hashtag not salty. Looks like the putter finally heated up in round 3, along with his ball striking, shooting a classy -7 around TPC Sawgrass, which was the 3rd best score of the day. Does the putter continue to cooperate at 7,600 for round 4 showdown? Christian Bezuidenhout, a South African who will be looking to redeem our nation in tomorrow's round, is just doing his thing, plodding along, still striking the crap out of his irons since changing his coaches. That seems to be paying off quite nicely. A $7,400 Bezzy will be highly owned as a result of his position entering the final round. Chad Ramey is the other 6K golfer who will presumably be very high owned after leading the field in putting for the 2nd time this event. He lost ball striking today and will be $6,700 tomorrow. Sung Jae Im is the deputy mayor of Scorch City, shooting an 8 under 64 today. He came in at 16% ownership and seems to have found a bit of momentum, although he gained almost 5 stroke short game today. $8,400 will be the asking price for the surging Korean. Tom Hoagie sits in T8 and shot a course record 62 today. All it took was 10 birdies and 16 greens in regulations, gaining just shy of 4 strokes on approach. He shot a course record, gaining only 2.5 strokes putting, which goes to show how impressive that iron play really was. After all, he is one of the best iron players in the world, and we had him to win this event at 125-1 because of that very reason. However, he still sits 6 shots back of the world number 2, which is just being a giant betting cockblock along with the other 2 big 3 buddies, where all have unbettable odds and continue to just ruin betting for everybody else. Hashtag not salty still. This is in no way meant to be a jinx against Scotty. Hoagie is $7,200 and the ownership floodgates will open up. If his 6% from today is anything to go off of, he will be very high owned tomorrow. David Lingmuth is in T8, as his striking irons better than anybody in the field outside of Minwoo Lee. who is the co-leader going into the final hole until he made bogey and Scotty made birdie. We know that this is what you get when you write a piece before the round ends. At $6,400 tomorrow, Lingworth shot -4 today. He was 2% owned, and that will change going into tomorrow's round. Denny McCarthy is 5th in strokes gained off the tee through 3 rounds, which just goes to show how magnificently leveling this golf course is. He is also one of the guys gaining the most strokes putting, which is something that is not a surprise, as he's one of the best putters in the world. Imagine Scotty Scheffler putted like Denny. Whoo, boy, that would be scary. A very scary thought. Anyway, Denny rinsed a bunker shot today, which has his approach play in shambles, but he can get hot until he gets wet, which happened today. Look out for old Denny tomorrow at $7,900. Justin Rose sits in T11 alongside Denny McCarthy and was 9% owned today, gaining 50 points en route to his -567 to sit in a T11 spot. He requested that we mention in this broadcast that it is brought to you by Morgan Stanley, MasterCard, Grant Thornton, and Barnabas. You can grab the other 17 ads he asked us to read out on his website called justinroseads.com. Taylor Montgomery also sits in T11 after shooting 66 today, and he has gained 6 strokes putting, which is something we have come to expect from the full Monty. He is not afraid to get naked on the greens and just let it all hang out after surging up the leaderboard when he does so. That took a weird turn, but you get my point. $7,300 is a very affordable price for one of the best birdie makers and hottest putters on tour. Speaking of someone that putted very well today, Patrick Cantley did not. He never putted his ball into the water, however. He is the only person to have averaged over 2 strokes off the tee, though, which is quite promising, considering that's the first shot of every hole. He is a hot putting round away from going scorched earth and should be reasonably owned at $9,700, sitting outside the top 10. Adam Hadwin in T14 had a rather poor round on approach and on the greens. A bounce back is imminent for the guy who has a great course history here and is $7,800 for the Canadian. Adam Svensson's in T14 too, who shot 3 over par today, losing strokes across all 4 major categories as his propensity to handle the big moment continues to come into question. However, he is not in contention tomorrow, and at $7,800, we're going right back to him on a course that suits exactly what he does well. Colin Morikawa leads the fields in strokes gained approach, but has leaked putter fluid all over the speedy greens at TPC Sawgrass. It is such a shame he is incapable of capitalizing on any of the opportunities his ball striking provides him, sitting all the way down in T14, failing to break par in his last 2 rounds, which have not been in bad conditions at all. Hell, Tom Hoagie broke the course record today, while Colin was out here scraping a level par round together. As an outright ticket holder of Colin Morikawa, I can't say I didn't see this coming, but goddamn, Colin, get it together. $10,000 will be the price to jump onto the roller coaster that ensures you climb off with yours and other people's throw up all over you. Thanks for that, Colin. Ricky Fowler in T14 too is in 14th place, as I just mentioned, and has been putting and approaching like we see in the Rocket Mortgage commercials. Maybe he's taking lessons from Nelly in the Grant Thornton commercials. Either way, he's playing nicely, and at $8,300, he has the potential to climb the leaderboard in round 4. Victor Hovland lost 3 strokes putting today, which is very bad. Wow. The only other person that putted worse than him was Silly Willie, who lost 5 strokes around the green and putting today. Yikes. So expect Big Stick Vic to bounce back on the greens and surge up the leaderboard tomorrow at $10,300. Minimal ownership will be on Vic's side, as Scotty Scheffler will be garnering the majority of that ownership share at the 10K range. Jordan Spieth is striking his irons so well right now, sitting inside the top 10 in strokes gained approach for the tournament. Who knows what kind of magic he will be capable of tomorrow on and around the greens if he keeps that kind of iron play up. He's a definite target at 9,200, but his best round might have been today. Insert frowning face. Ben Griffin sits in T14 as well, alongside the other million other people that sit at T14, but he sits in T14 because he played with Scotty Scheffler today in the final group. He was playing fantastic golf leading into today, which saw him in the final group, but expect him to bounce back tomorrow with a little less limelight shining on the rookie, who is $8,000 for round 4 showdown. Jay Day sits in T14th as well, 8 strokes back of Scheffler. His putter has not showed up, neither has his driver. If he didn't lead the field in strokes gained around the green alongside Cam Davis, he would be day down the leaderboard. He will be $9,500, a casual $1,500 more than he started the tournament at for classic contests. Those DraftKings people don't know what they're doing. Hideki Matsuyama sits in T26 and is another golfer who will be a premium target in Showdown for us, shooting -5 today while losing a fraction of a stroke on approach. We know old Eeyore can go nuclear on Sunday, as he has the 5th best round 4 scoring average behind Tony Finau, Jason Day, Silly Willy, and Xander, all of which will be targets for round 4. Max Homa, T26, shot 5 under today, losing 3/4 of a stroke on the greens. Very frustrating stuff. His iron play continues to scorch the strokes gained approach column, gaining the 3rd most strokes on approach today, which is not a abnormality. We see it more often than not from Max nowadays. If he can make a few putts tomorrow, that ball striking baseline should be there once again at $10,100. He is in T26, but only 2 strokes back of the top 10, which should see a sizable amount of churn, with about half the golfers in the top 10 not having any business being there. If Max can make 2 more birdies than Scotty Scheffler tomorrow, he will have scored the same amount of fantasy points in round 4 as the world number 2, who may land up getting the first place finishing position points anyway. It could happen if Scotty's shaky putter gets off to a cold start. We got to try and make money in Showdown somehow. The weather department has salaries we need to pay, even though they don't know shit. Tony Finau sits in T26, 6 shots, a million shots back of the leader, but he shot -6 today, holing out from the bunker for eagle on his final hole. Big Tone seems to be tone deaf on the ball striking front, which is usually his bread and butter. He has barely gained in either area over the week so far and sits T26 at $9,000 for round 4. He might be worth going back to if the dude can just avoid hitting balls in the water. He is one of the best round 4 scorers. Cameron Young sits in T35 and was on pace to break the course record that Tom Hoagie inevitably broke. But after getting to -7 through 11 holes, the buzz wore off and he stumbled his way into the clubhouse at 3 over par. Got to pace those birdie beers, brother. Still, a very impressive round that almost saw a hole-in-one on the par 4 12th, ultimately making birdie on the hole despite nearly holing it from 287 yards. $8,800 is the price to pay for that ride again. Maverick McNeely sits in T57. Watch out for that putter tomorrow. He's going to be a nice little target for us in Showdown. Tom Kim, Justin Thomas, T63 each, LOL. Folks, that concludes the back nine breakdown for this week.